In a dark, haunting palace, 2 rows of strange magic mirrors lined the hall. Each mirror held a terrifying demon waiting. A group of pirates stumbled into the place, clueless about the danger lurking around them. As they passed the mirrors, hungry demons sprang out, launching a sudden attack. All hell broke loose. One pirate, too scared to fight, turned and ran, but their leader didn't flinch. Solomon Kane, cold and ruthless, drew his pistol. Known for leaving trails of blood and terror wherever he went, Kane had no idea they had invaded a place of death. While his men fought for their lives, the door behind Kane creaked open. A whisper floated through the air, pulling him toward a shadowy hall. He stepped in alone, and the door slammed shut behind him. Inside, piles of gold and silver glittered on the ground. Kane's lips curled into a satisfied grin. But as he grabbed a handful of coins, the screams of his men echoed from beyond, but Kane didn't care. The treasure was all that mattered. Suddenly, the temperature in the hall plummeted. The corpse of a long-dead king froze in front of him, and piercing cries filled the air. Swirling black spirits appeared, circling Kane like vultures. The ghosts merged on the icy throne, forming a faceless Grim Reaper. For the first time, Kane felt a chill of fear. The Reaper raised a hand, unleashing an invisible force that knocked Kane to his knees. Its fiery, soul-devouring sword appeared, glowing with hellish flames. The Reaper swung to claim Kane's soul. But against all odds, Kane blocked the blow, catching the Reaper off guard. The Grim Reaper had marked him, and his soul was now forever marked by a terrible curse. Without wasting a second, he shattered a window and leaped into the night. To escape the icy grip of the Grim Reaper, Kane sought refuge in a remote monastery. He used the wealth he'd stolen during his pirate days to seek redemption, even tattooing religious symbols on his body, hoping they might protect his soul. However, the priest saw through Kane's attempts to hide from his dark past. He believed Kane had unfinished business in the world and didn't belong there. Despite Kane's desperate pleas to stay, the priest cast him out, leaving him to wander alone. With nowhere to go, Kane's path was bleak. Death and despair seemed to follow him. He was unsure of his purpose until he stumbled upon a gang of bandits. They found nothing of value on him, mocked him, and beat him senseless. Kane, unwilling to fight back for fear of awakening the curse and drawing the Reaper again, endured their cruelty. But when he woke up, he was in a small, cozy carriage. A kind family had rescued him, and there he met Meredith, a girl with a warm smile and curious eyes. She was fascinated by the mystery surrounding him. Kane, having nowhere else to turn, joined the family's travels. For the first time in years, he felt peace. But happiness never stayed with Kane for long. As they journeyed, they came upon a village reduced to ashes. The ground was charred, corpses lay everywhere, and every villager's eyes were burned out. It seemed no one had survived, except for one little girl. She told them calmly how the villagers had tried to burn a witch, but the witch's flames had turned on them instead. The family, shaken, prepared to pray for the souls of the dead. But when the girl refused to join in and asked to sleep instead, Kane grew suspicious. Something about her felt wrong. Slowly, he approached her with a cross. The girl's demeanor shifted instantly. Her voice turned icy as she planted a sinister mark on Meredith's hand, revealing her true identity as the witch who had destroyed the village. Kane fought the witch, who taunted him with a promise. Someone named Malachi would come after him. Before Kane could finish her off, she dissolved into a flock of crows, vanishing into the night. Meanwhile, in another village, chaos erupted. Strange raiders stormed the settlement, destroying everything in their path. Among them was a masked knight with a terrifying presence. He pressed his massive hands against a recruit's face, veins bulging beneath his skin as it burned under his touch. The man didn't cry out in pain. Instead, he smiled eerily, his dark eyes filled with malevolence. It was clear that some great evil had consumed him. The witch's mark brought disaster to Meredith's family. The masked knight and his army of cursed puppets attacked without mercy, slaughtering everyone in their path. Kane arrived too late. He begged them to stop, but they saw the curse within him and mocked him. They demanded he take up his weapon again, knowing it would awaken the evil he had kept buried for so long. When Meredith's brother was brutally killed before his eyes, Kane's restraint shattered. He unleashed his fury, cutting through the raiders in a killing spree. But Meredith was already gone, captured by the masked knight. For the first time, Kane had a purpose: to save Meredith. He put on his worn-out but impressive cloak and left behind a battlefield covered with dead bodies. As he traveled, raiders fell one by one beneath his blade, and along the way, he freed countless civilians from the grip of evil. But no matter how far he searched, Meredith was nowhere to be found. Exhausted and desperate, he stumbled into a crumbling church and knelt to pray, hoping for guidance. Inside the church, a fallen priest revealed the truth. An evil sorcerer, Malachi, controlled the lands, and the masked knight was his loyal servant. The priest led Kane to a hidden cellar beneath the church, a place filled with tortured, cursed souls, once the priest's own townsfolk. Before Kane could react, the priest shoved him into the dark pit. The truth was horrifying. The priest had been feeding innocent people to the cursed monsters below to keep himself alive. Kane fought his way through the twisted corpses, navigating the shadows with his inner strength. At last, he found a way out through a narrow hole. The monsters tried to pursue him, but shied away in fear under the moonlight, retreating to the darkness. Just as Kane thought he was free, the severed head of the priest rolled at his feet. He looked up and saw the bandits who had humiliated him before. Their eyes were empty, their movements unnatural. They had become puppets of the masked knight. But the bandits underestimated Kane's wrath. With swift, brutal efficiency, he cut them down. Their cursed lives ended as quickly as their loyalty to the knight had begun. Determined to rescue Meredith, Kane gathered a group of his former brothers in arms. Together, they devised a plan to confront the masked knight and his master, Malachi. But the enemy struck first, ambushing them at night. By dawn, Kane's hands were nailed to a cross, left to die as the masked knight mocked him and rode away. Later, Meredith was being taken to Malachi's palace in a prison wagon, and she spotted Kane's predicament. Her desperate cries for Kane fueled his will to survive. Summoning a strength he didn't know he had, Kane tore free from the nails, bloodied but alive. With the help of his brothers, they fought the masked knight's puppets. Kane recovered and was taken to a secret hideout. There, a pagan healer tended to his wounds. As Kane regained his strength, the group crafted their strategy to bring down Malachi. One of his brothers revealed a shocking truth. Malachi's lair was a castle, but not just any castle. It was Kane's own birthplace, the home he had abandoned long ago. Gathering his men, the castle loomed ahead, and they slipped in through the sewers, unseen. Inside, Kane immediately came face to face with the old witch, the one who had cursed Meredith. Disguised as a little girl, she was preparing for more wickedness. Without hesitation, Kane hurled a knife, ending her dark schemes forever. But the sound of her fall echoed through the halls, alerting the army of cursed puppets. The clash was unavoidable. The masked knight charged into the fray, cutting down Kane's men with terrifying precision. Even Kane's strength wasn't enough to stop him. Wounded and outmatched, Kane retreated deeper into the castle, determined to find Malachi. As he moved through the shadowy corridors, he stumbled upon a haunting sight: his father, chained and broken. The older man's astonishment was clear as he looked upon Kane. Memories came rushing back. Years ago, Kane's father had chosen his older brother, Marcus, to inherit the land and title, while Kane was ordered to join the priesthood. Angry and humiliated, Kane had fled the family, vowing never to return. But before leaving, he caught Marcus assaulting a girl. Enraged, Kane fought him. In the chaos, Marcus fell off a cliff, and Kane had believed him dead all this time. Now his father revealed the mind-blowing truth. Marcus had survived, resurrected by Malachi's dark magic. Marcus was the masked knight, the relentless killer who had brought so much suffering. This revelation filled Kane with both guilt and fury. He stormed into Malachi's hall, where the sorcerer sat on a throne marked by evil charms that masked his true face. Meredith was locked in a cage nearby, her terrified eyes pleading for help. Kane lunged at Malachi, but the sorcerer vanished just as Kane's blade struck. Frustrated but focused, Kane turned to free Meredith. He reached the cage, but pain exploded in his shoulder. A sword had pierced him from behind. It was the masked knight. Kane recognized his brother's movements and tried to reason with him, hoping to end the madness. But Marcus, consumed by darkness, attacked relentlessly, forcing Kane to fight back. As the brothers clashed, Malachi returned, pulling back a massive black cloth to reveal a mirror holding a terrifying demon king. The sight froze even Kane for a moment. Meanwhile, Marcus's brutal strikes continued. Kane, wounded and desperate, grabbed a torch and set his brother ablaze. The fire consumed Marcus, and Kane watched as his brother fell for the last time. Malachi seized the moment of chaos. He slashed Meredith's palm, using her virgin blood to awaken the demon king trapped in the mirror. The earth shook as the demon broke free, its towering form filling the hall. Kane knew he had to act quickly. He taunted the demon, luring it toward him, and turned to face Malachi one last time. As the demon raised its colossal hand to crush Kane, Meredith pushed Malachi. Kane seized the opening and fired his pistol, ending the sorcerer's life. With Malachi's death, the dark magic started to disappear. The Demon King, along with the curse inside Kane, was sucked back into the mirror, sealing the evil away once more. Kane collapsed but realized his soul was finally free from the Grim Reaper's grasp. He had found redemption, but the shadow of evil still lingered in the world. A new hero was born, one who had faced darkness and lived to fight for the light.